Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Humaira Khurshid with your first year English lesson of the third poem, Loveliest of Trees, The Cherry Now. The poem is written by A.E. Houseman. The poem opens with the scene of a spring season. Let's narrate the first stanza. Loveliest of trees, the cherry now is hung with bloom along the bough, and stands about the woodland ride, wearing white for Eastertide. The poet has presented a scene of the morning in which an imaginative character is passing by a beautiful cherry tree on the woodland ride. Here, woodland ride means a path that goes through jungle in order to ride of horses. But the poet is passing, or the imaginative persona that the poet has presented in the poem is passing on same route. The beauty of the cherry tree that is situated on that right side has highly impressed the person who is passing there. The cherry, why is it beautiful? Because it is overloaded with the white flowers. And the idea that immediately comes to our mind is that why cherry is overloaded with the flowers? Definitely it's springtime, because the cherry tree is in full bloom only during the springtime. So the poet has indirectly mentioned the time of this and the season, and secondly he has again referred to some other effect that is being created by the beauty of the tree. It seems that the tree has dressed itself in white ensemble to celebrate the Easter time. Here, Easter time is referred by the poet as a symbol of beauty, purification, resurrection, rebirth, joy and happiness and purity. Stanza 2. Now of my 60 years and 10, 20 will not come again, and take from 70 springs a score, it only leaves me 50 more. Yes, in the second stanza, it seems that the poet has started some mathematical calculation. What he says is that he has got an average age of 20 years, as it is stated in the Bible that average human age is 70 years. And of these 70 years, he has spent 20 years in this earth. And now he is having just 50 more years to spend on this earth. And if he plans to visit this beautiful scene of the cherry tree, it means in the future he would only be able to enjoy this beautiful scene for 50 times, because only 50 spring seasons are left with him to enjoy the beauty of nature. So he is feeling regretted or wistful that such a splendid scene would be experienced only for 50 times in future life. Let's have a look at the third stanza. And since to look at things in bloom, 50 springs little room, about the woodlands I will go to see the cherry hung with snow. Here in this stanza, the poet is of the opinion that 50 springs or 50 years that are still to come in his life are very little to enjoy the beauty of life. Because life is short, so he announces that he will appreciate the cherry blossom, and in order to enjoy its beauty, he is planning to visit the beauty of this scene right now, so that he can enjoy the maximum of the availability that the nature is offering at this beautiful time. Student, it was the poem that was for our today's lecture. Now let's have a look at the dominant themes that the poet has discussed in the poem. The first theme that appears in first stanza is the effect of the beauty of nature. Nature has been celebrated throughout English poetry, particularly in romantic poetry, as the mother, guide, and guardian. It has a soothing effect on human being. It is viewed even as a living being that shares existence with the human beings and affects the formulation of their beings. The poet seems to celebrate the same breathing effect of nature in its existence when he visits the scene of cherry tree. But this beautiful effect, even though captivates the poet's mind for the time being, in the very next stanza, the poet's overgrowing realization of the impending or coming death awakes, and he is no more able to enjoy the beauty, and he starts to calculate that how long would he be able to enjoy that beauty. So he calculates the remaining years of his life, and he thinks that he would only have 50 more times to enjoy such splendid and beautiful sceneries of nature. But in the final stanza, he seems to be resolute to enjoy the short span of life and beauty, and he decides that he should spend more and more time in the presence of beauty. So we can say that the celebration of the beauty of nature and realization that the death is very near, and the desire on the part of the poet to enjoy life and beauty, life and its beauties, are the dominant themes of the poem. If we want to see what is the context that has forced the poet, or that has been motivating force for writing this subject matter, we would find that the poem was written in the context of the First World War. The poet's presentation of a character who is passing by the woodland was a general picture that was common to all the writings of the First World War. During those days, the soldiers were common to move in the woodlands, and the natural scenery was the most common scene that had been enjoyable to those soldiers. So the background of the First World War, with its natural scenery, and second, the idea of coming death or approaching death, and thirdly, the mental realization that the death would bring an end to all the enjoyment or the limited pleasures that the human beings are having in this world, have been a motivating force for the poet to write on the themes that he has touched in this poem. The personal or the immediate context in which we can view the poem is the Easter time, spring season, and the growing age. If we have a look at the Easter time and connect it with the Christian community or the European civilization, we would realize that Easter time is usually celebrated as the time of rebirth, revival in the world of nature, rebirth of human emotions and feelings, and a time of activity and enjoyment. So, the Easter tide has brought the poet to this conclusion that nature is enjoyable, it is going to have a purifying effect, and this purifying effect would wash away the memories of the short-lived life and all the other sorrows, and he should enjoy it in the maximum. And secondly, the springtime itself, again a symbol of abundance, symbol of revival, symbol of rebirth, and symbol of beauty, is presented here the immediate context of springtime combined by the poet with Easter time create an atmosphere in which there can be maximum celebration of beauty. And the third immediate context is the growing age or age that has to end immediately. It was a prevalent theme in the poems or the writings of the First World War, so it is also touched by the poet over here. Dear students, all the works of literature repeat or analogize the themes that are touched by the earlier writers as well. So here the poet has touched the theme that was repeatedly touched by Romantic poet Wordsworth, and it is the idea of the beauty of nature. The poet, just like Romantic Wordsworth, celebrates the beauty of nature, and secondly, he has memorized the Keats idea of beauty, that the beauty is a thing of joy forever. And another idea that he seems to have borrowed from Keats is the impermanence of beauty and love. Thirdly, we find in the poet's celebration of spring season the echoes of D.H. Lawrence echoing of the birds. The description of spring is similar to that of D.H. Lawrence. And fourthly, while the poem opens with the first stanza and the tree is clad with snow, we feel that we are also having a sense of Robert Frost's celebration of the morning snowfall as it is presented in his poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Morning. So we may say the poet has touched the ideas that has been repeatedly touched by the other literary figures in their pieces of literature. Yes, the students, if we see the